It's July 2021, and Bart and Krista Halderson were living a quiet life in Windsor, Wisconsin. They had a beautiful home and were the proud parents of two sons. Mitchell, 24, who worked in tech and was engaged to be married, and Chandler, who is 23 and was attending Madison College studying for an IT degree, and said he was looking forward to a job that he had lined up at SpaceX. On July 2nd, Krista Halderson did not show up for work, and her coworker and friend, Daniel Croninger, began to worry. He tried getting in touch with Krista, but there was no response. And that's when Croninger went over to the Haldersons' house and saw their youngest son, Chandler, who lived at home, and told Croninger his parents had gone to their family cabin for the July 4th weekend. When Bart and Krista Halderson did not return home from the cabin after the July 4th weekend, and were also not answering phone calls or text messages, Daniel Croninger urged Chandler to go to the police for help. And that's when on Wednesday, July 7th, 2021, Chandler reported his parents missing to the Dane County Sheriff's Office, telling detectives his mom and dad were picked up and driven to the cabin by a couple he didn't know. As detectives began investigating Bart and Krista's mysterious disappearance, Chandler Halderson knocked on neighbors' doors, asking if they'd seen or heard from his parents. On July 8, 2021, Bart and Krista Halderson's oldest son, Mitchell, drove to the family cabin 3 hours north of Windsor to look for them, and the Lane County Sheriff's deputy met him there, and together they searched the property, and it became clear no one had been to the cabin in a long time, and there were no signs of Bart and Krista Halderson. Detectives interviewed friends and neighbors of Bart and Krista, and they wanted to learn more about Chandler's whereabouts over the holiday weekend. Authorities started to suspect Chandler's story was not adding up, so they picked him up and brought him in for questioning. The police interview lasted about 2 hours, and Chandler told detectives his parents had gone to the cabin to take care of a plumbing emergency and that he helped them pack tools for the repairs. While detectives were talking to Chandler, they received information that changed the tone of the interview. Turns out deputies got a tip from a farm owner saying she had seen Chandler walking from the wood line on her property a few days before he had reported his parents missing, and when deputies searched that area, they discovered human remains, a male torso, and investigators immediately began testing to identify the remains. At the same time, detectives grilled Chandler about his missing parents, but when he asked for a lawyer, the interview ended. Authorities arrested Chandler Halderson for providing false information about a missing person. Then 2 days later, the remains found on the farm were identified as Bart Halderson, and Chandler was officially charged with his father's murder. He was also charged with dismembering and hiding a body. But it still bears the question, where was Krista? Authorities continued to search for her, not knowing if she was still alive, and during a press conference, Dane County Sheriff Calvin Barrett asked the community to stay alert. A major break came from an unexpected source: Chandler's use of the social media app, Snapchat. And Chandler's girlfriend, Catherine Cat Melinder, gave investigators permission to download data from her phone, and detectives say Melinder would keep tabs on her boyfriend using a Snapchat feature, which allows the user to track a friend's location in real time. And then on July 3rd, she spotted Chandler on Snapchat near the Wisconsin River, and Melinder had taken a screenshot of the location and saved it to her phone. Then when detectives searched the Snapchat location, they found human remains. The medical examiner later confirmed they were the remains of Krista Halderson, and Chandler was then charged with his mother's murder. In September 2021, Chandler Halderson pleaded not guilty to murdering, dismembering, and hiding the bodies of his parents, Bart and Krista. The trial began in January of 2022, and the Dane County prosecutors told the jury that Chandler murdered his parents because they had discovered discovered he had been lying to them about his attendance at college and his job prospects. Prosecutors presented evidence that Chandler had flunked out of college. They say he had made up a series of fake emails to make his parents believe he was still enrolled in school. Prosecutors also presented evidence of Chandler buying a tarp and 20 pounds of ice. Authorities determined the tarp Chandler purchased was similar to a tarp found in the garbage at the farm where his father's remains were discovered. Authorities also found cutting tools hidden inside a rusty oil drum at that same exact farm. A forensic analysis testified that blood on the tools matched Bart and Krista's DNA. Prosecutors also showed the jury a photo of broken glass from the Halderson's fireplace. They also showed a video from a neighbor's security camera that captured a flickering light coming from a window at the Halderson home. Prosecutors say it was the same day they believe Bart and Krista were killed, and a forensic expert testified at trial that more than 200 human bone fragments were found in the fireplace. A forensic expert also testified that there appeared to be blood in the basement of the Halderson home. The expert also told the jury there appeared to be evidence of a cleanup. In this photo, the floor looks clean, but in the dark blue light, it tells a different story and reveals traces of blood. And to top it all off, a gun was found hidden in a barn at the farm where his father's remains were found. Authorities believe this weapon was used to kill Bart. The medical examiner was not able to determine how Krista Halderson was killed. The jury deliberated for 2 hours, and Chandler Halderson was found guilty on all charges and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. In April 2023, 2 of Chandler Halderson's convictions related to hiding his parents' remains were vacated on procedural grounds, although Halderson continues to serve a life sentence with no possibility of parole for the murder and dismemberment of his parents. And that's all for the twisted web of Chandler Halderson. Thanks for watching, and remember, if it's more interesting, you can find it here.